Hey everyone, my name is Martin and welcome to my channel. This is my first video and I'm excited to start this journey with you. Here we will explore interesting facts and dives into the topics like history, culture, politics, nature and more. Curiosity. Today we will start with a big one, and it's the European Union explained, because as you can hear from my terrible pronunciation, you can hear that I'm not a native speaker. I'm actually from Slovakia, which is the country in the Central Europe, and I think that me as a European, I can try to explain you some of the things. And this video is very old, so we will try to find out there stuff that are not up to date, and we'll try to update them, or I will try to update them if I will know the answers or the new facts. So I think that we should start, and I hope you guys will enjoy the videos. Don't forget to like, share and comment, and yeah, let's go.
Where is the European Union? Obviously here somewhere, but much like the European continent itself, which has an unclear boundary, the European Union also...
That's very real thing, that Europe has unclear boundaries, but for most of the European Union countries, as you can hear later, it's not a problem. At least I hope.
Also has some fuzzy edges to it. To start, the official members of the European Union are, in decreasing order of population, Germany, France, the United Kingdom, Italy, Spain, Poland, Romania, the Kingdom of the Netherlands, Greece, Belgium, Portugal, the Czech Republic, Hungary, Sweden, Austria, Bulgaria, Denmark, Slovakia, Finland, Ireland, Croatia, Lithuania, Latvia, Slovenia, Estonia, Cyprus, Luxembourg, and Malta.
Unfortunately, after Brexit, the Great Britain is not in the European Union anymore, so no Great Britain. They are now only in the Europe and on their isle, so they are they are British, or better say they are on the British Isles, so they are separated from us.
The edges of the EU will probably continue to expand further out, as there are other countries in various stages of trying to become a member.
With this, I think that Ukraine want to join, and the Moldova wants to join. So these two countries wants to join the EU right now, which is kind of complicated. Ukraine mainly because of the war, and Moldova mainly because of the political situation, economics and stuff like that. It's very complicated, so I'm not going deep into it.
Remember, how the EU works is hideously complicated and a story for another time, but for...
That is not story for another time, that's literally story for studying it at university, right? How EU works, that's overly complicated, and even the most basic thing can be really messy and hard to understand and complicated, so
This video, you need know only 3 things. First, countries pay membership dues, and second, vote on the laws they all must follow, and third, citizens of member countries are automatically European Union citizens as well. This last means that if you're a citizen of any of these countries, you are free to live and work and retire in any of the others, which is nice, especially if you think your country is too big or too small or too hot or too cold. The European Union gives you options.
Yeah, but it's not that simple, right? You have to follow the law of those countries. So to some countries it's easier to move in and live there. To some countries it's a little bit more hard to go there and live there. But yeah, you have this option to, and every country has their own laws. So yeah. But you can do that. You can totally do that. You can go to study to those countries, and if they have free universities, or if the state pays for the university for the tuition and stuff, you can go study there, and you will not pay this high amounts of tuition. But again, it depends on the country. For example, in the Netherlands, you will pay for the university. If you would go to Slovakia, you don't need to pay for university, but only in the case that you are studying in Slovak language. So if you know Slovak and you are from Germany, you can study in Slovakia and not paying tuition. If you want to study in English in Slovakia, you will pay a tuition. And the same thing is actually for Slovaks. If you want to study in English in Slovakia, you will pay the tuitions. Yeah. But it is not that high. It's like maybe 1,000 euros per year, so it's okay, 1 to 2,000 euros per year.
By the way, did you notice how all three of these statements have asterisks attached to this unhelpful footnote? Well, get used to it. Europe loves asterisks that add exceptions to complicated agreements.
Yes, this is a real thing, and I hated it. When I was at my Erasmus, studying abroad, there were so many of them, so you had to like read it like very carefully, all the agreements that you were signing.
These three, for example, point us towards the first bit of border fuzziness with Norway, Iceland, and Little Liechtenstein, none of which are in the European Union, but if you're an EU citizen, you can live in these countries, and Norwegians, Icelanders, or Liechtensteiners can live in yours. Why? In exchange for freedom of movement of people, they have to pay membership fees to the European Union, even though they aren't a part of it, and thus don't get a say in its laws that they still have to follow. This arrangement is the European Economic Area, and it sounds like a terrible deal were it not for that asterisk which grants EEA, but not EU members, a pass on some areas of law, notably farming and fishing, something a country like, say, Iceland might care quite a lot about running themselves. Between the European Union and the European Economic Area, the continent looks mostly covered, with the notable exception of Switzerland, who remains neutral and fiercely independent, except for her participation in the Schengen Area. If you're from a country that keeps her border...
Schengen, that's like the best thing I think about European Union, that you actually don't need to show your passport at the borders, but they can check you like absolutely everywhere. I was checked like this in Italy when we actually we were going to Terst, which is like really close, or it's this port city in the East Italy. And the first thing that the policeman did after we actually left the train station was actually checking our ID. So yeah, they do that. It can happen. It can happen, I would say, even more frequently on the border crossings or nearby border crossings. They can check you or check your ID. So it's definitely a thing. But this happened to me like once or twice per my whole life, so it's okay.
Border is extremely clean and or well patrolled. The Schengen Area is a bit mind-blowing because it's an agreement between countries to take a meh approach to borders. In the Schengen Area, international boundaries look like this. No border officers or passport checks of any kind. You can walk from Lisbon.
They can check you. They can, as I explained, they can ask you for your ID, so you always have to have your ID or passport in the Schengen area. So yeah.
To Tallinn without identification or the need to answer the question business or pleasure. For Switzerland, being part of Schengen but not part of the European Union,
they were not asking questions. They just checked ID. They checked if the person on ID is me, and that was the whole thing. So yeah, they don't ask questions.
Union means that non-Swiss can check in any time they like, but they can never stay. This kumbaya approach to borders isn't appreciated by everyone in the EU, most loudly the United Kingdom and Ireland, who argue that islands are different. Thus, to get onto these fair isles, you'll need a passport and a good reason.
I think that to the if you are European and you have a like European ID, of course, all you need is ID. Otherwise, you need a passport, of course, if you are from different countries around the globe. But if you are European, all you need is ID. You don't even need a passport. Actually, I know a lot of people that don't even have like passport because they don't need it. They just have their ID because they usually travel only around the European Union or Europe, because even when you are not in European Union, some European countries accept like your ID. So yeah, sometimes people just save money and they don't like do their passports, or they don't get their passports, and they can travel just fine in Europe. Not even European Union, but in Europe.
Britannia's reluctance to get fully involved with the EU brings us to the next topic, money. The European Union has its own fancy currency, the euro, used by the majority but not all of the European Union members. This economic union is called the Eurozone, and to join, a country must first reach certain financial goals, and lying about reaching those goals is certainly not something anyone would do.
Yeah, agrees. don't lie about your Euro stuff.
Most of the non-Eurozone members, when they meet the goals, will ditch their local currency in favor of the euro, but 3 of them, Denmark, Sweden, and of course the United Kingdom, have asterisks attached to the euro section of the treaty, giving them a permanent opt-out. And weirdly, 4 tiny European countries, Andorra, San Marino, Monaco, and Vatican City, have an asterisk giving them the exact reverse: the right to print and use euros as their money, despite not being in the European Union at all. So that's the big picture. There's the EU, which makes all the rules, the Eurozone inside of it with a common currency, the European Economic Area outside of it where people can move freely, and the selective Schengen for countries that think borders just aren't worth the hassle. As you can see, there's some strange overlap with these borders, but we're not done talking about complications by a long shot, once again, because empire. So Portugal and Spain have islands from their colonial days that they've never parted with. These are the Madeira and Canary Islands off the coast of Africa and the Azores well into the Atlantic. Because these islands are Spanish and Portuguese, they're part of the European Union as well. Adding a few islands to the EU's borders isn't a big deal until you consider France, the queen of not letting go. She still holds on to a bunch of islands in the Caribbean, Reunion off the coast of Madagascar, and French Guiana in South America. As far as France is concerned, these are France too, which single-handedly extends the edge-to-edge distance of the European Union across a third of the Earth's circumference. Collectively, these bits of France, Spain, and Portugal are called the outermost regions, and they're the result of the simple answer to empire: just keep it. On the other hand, there's the United Kingdom, the master of maintaining complicated relationships with her quasi-former lands, and she's by no means alone in this on such an empire-happy continent. The Netherlands and Denmark and France, again, all
Great Britain out, so we don't need to care about Great Britain anymore in European Union. But it's a little bit sad without them. Yeah, I don't think that Brexit was a good decision for Great Britain, and I hope that they will rejoin one day, hopefully.
all have what the European Union calls overseas territories. They're not part of the European Union, instead they're a bottomless well of asterisks due to their complicated relationships with both the European Union and their associated countries, which makes it hard to say anything meaningful about them as a group, but in general, European Union law doesn't apply to these places, though in general, the people who live there are European Union citizens because in general, they have the citizenship of their associated country, so in general, they can live anywhere in the EU they want, but in general, other European Union citizens can't freely move to these territories, which makes these places a weird, semi-permeable membrane of the European Union proper, and the final part we're going to talk about in detail, even though there are still many more one-off asterisks you might stumble upon, such as the Isle of Man, or those Spanish cities in North Africa, or Gibraltar, who pretends to be part of southwest England sometimes, or that region in Greece where it's totally legal to ban women, or Saba and friends, who are part of the Netherlands and so should be part of the EU but aren't, or the Faroe Islands, upon which while citizens of Denmark live, they lose their EU citizenship, and on it goes.
Yeah, it's complicated, but on the other side, thanks to this, European Union is like, I would say, very like liberal, I would say. So if the people want some of the freedoms, like special to their territory, they can actually have it, and sometimes they can. It depends on the law, and the law is, I would say, very complicated, and I don't want to I don't want to say something that is like not right, not true, some false information, some hoaxes, so I'm not continuing with this about this.
These asterisks almost never end, but this video must.
Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. It was really nice actually rewatching this video. It's like very old and already outdated, but a lot of information there is still are still a thing. So yeah, it's still worth it for rewatching this video, and I hope you like this video. Don't forget to share, subscribe and like this video, and see you later guys. Bye!